Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about the 5 culture shocks that I had when I come to the UK. And yeah, so let's just begin. If you all are new to this channel, my name is Abhimanyu. I'm currently studying in the University of York. I'm studying PPE, Philosophy, Politics, Economics, and I'm currently in my first year. My semester started on the 25th of September last year and it's currently 26th of June. So technically my semester ended like 2 days ago. Right, so I moved in from Singapore to York on the 24th of September. And yeah, these are the first few things which I experienced when I come into the UK. Honestly, it's been an insane first year in the University of York. There's definitely a lot of things that I want to share with y'all. I'm not going to touch on those things now, but yeah, I'll definitely make videos about it in the future, so stay tuned for that. I'm just going to talk about the 5 culture shocks that I had when I come into the UK, and let's begin. The first culture shock. People here feel more human. When I first came to York, I met 2 people at the airport, Chris and Policia. We all became friends while taking the bus from the Manchester airport to the University of York. And once we reached the University of York, we decided to go down to town to get some pots, pans, utensils, and even like some like pillows, etc. Right, so we made it into town, and then we were quite hungry, and then we decided to go buy some food. I brought in money which I converted back in Singapore, so it was the UK paper bills, which apparently were no longer in use in the UK. So yeah, when I tried to use that money to like buy food, like none of the shops accepted it. And Chris and Policia, they brought in their cards from their own countries, and when they tried to use their cards, the cards didn't work. So yeah, we were technically stranded in the town, and we were lost, and we didn't know what to do, and we were also hungry. And that's when these pizza owners from Sparks, they saw us struggling, and then they made us like a free pizza on the house. And we were like very like surprised by that, and we were definitely very grateful because like we tried to explain to them that we had no money and that this was our first day in York, and they were like, yeah, it's fine, pizza on the house. And I was like, okay, that's a very interesting thing. And yeah, we also decided to like just head back home, and so we took the bus. But on the bus also we had to buy tickets, but we didn't have money for the ticket, so we told the bus driver our situation, and yeah, he also just let us through. Right, which was like, given this our first day in New York, this was the reception that we had. It was definitely a very interesting thing for me because the people here are so kind, so friendly, definitely not as stringent and strict to the rules like how we would have been in Singapore, right? Also, one thing I realized, if you talk about the university context, they are more open to talk about mental health. They're more comfortable to like have conversations about it, and I don't think that's the same back in Singapore. So yeah, it's definitely, I feel that the people here are much more human. Now the second culture shock which I had was the soaking of dishes. Right, so I don't know whether it's a university thing or is it like a UK thing, but like when I come into my flat accommodation, we have a shared kitchen for 12 people here. And when we were doing our dishes, I realized that a lot of my friends, a lot of my flatmates, they decided to like soak their dishes into like this bowl, which is like just filled with water, and then they say that they'll leave the dishes overnight to like soak. And I found that quite interesting because like they literally just fill up the basin with water, put the dishes inside, and just leave it. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And they said that it's because to soak the dishes so that it can be easier to like clean it off next day or something. And I'm like, most of the time that's what they say, but I feel like it's just so that they can procrastinate and not do the dishes. But yeah, you definitely can't get away with it in Singapore. Singapore, I feel like in my home I have to do the dishes instantly. There's none of this soaking business. Another thing which I would like to add on, just a minor thing, is they use towels to wipe, tea towels they call it, to wipe down their dishes, which is not what you do in Singapore. I don't know about you, but my family, we just dry the dishes, just put it up, and then like the water just drip down and it's fine. But yeah, here they use tea towels to wipe down all the dishes. So that's another interesting thing. And yeah, moving on to the third one, which is the main one, which I feel is the UK weather. Like, yes, the weather here is insane. Like, even me and my UK friends, they also don't know what's going on at times. Now, back in Singapore, it's quite straightforward. The weather there is like 33 degrees every day for like 365 days. And when it rains, it can drop to about 27 degrees. And when it's like quite sunny for a while, it can go up to like a high of 36 degrees. Yeah, I think that's about it. But also like the sun rises and sunsets at around roughly the same time, which sun rises at 6:30 a.m. and sunsets at about 6:30 p.m. So it's quite fixed, you sort of get like a routine and all. But you can definitely not say the same for the UK. Right. Now, yes, I know the UK has the 4 seasons: summer, spring, winter, autumn. Yes, I was getting my clothes to get prepared for it. But what I didn't realize is that winter sometimes it's just not wintering, spring sometimes it's just not springing. Do you get what I mean when I talk a bit further? Now in winter the sun rises at 8 a.m. and the sun sets at 3:30 p.m. While in summer the sun rises at 4:30 a.m. and the sun sets at about 9:30 p.m. So yeah, like the timing at which the sun rises and sunsets is quite messed up, because when you go into winter, when the sun rises at 8 a.m. and sunsets at 3:30 p.m., if you wake up at maybe noon, right, if I normally wake up at 12 or 1, the sun normally like sets within 2 hours, and that sort of messes up with your body clock. And yeah, definitely not a good thing when you have like what, 7 hours of sunlight during winter and like 17 hours of like sunlight during summer, which is like too extreme. So your body needs to get adapt and you get used to that kind of like thing, and once you get used to it, the next season comes rolling in. So it's quite like you're always changing your clothes, what you wear, how you plan your days, and everything fluctuates. And yeah, winter is definitely not the best, right? Yes, it's quite nice to see the snow and all. Another thing about the weather is the temperature. Like you think that summer is definitely the highest and it should like be the same temperature throughout, like maybe 20 degrees temperatures, but I swear literally we had a week where it just dropped to like 7 degrees the entire week. Same with like spring also, it's like yay, it's supposed to be like a nice mixed weather of summer and winter, but it wasn't the case. There were definitely a lot of storms that are happening, and when I was cycling down to the campus, right, the wind was so strong that I barely could even move, and another second gush of wind pushed me and I had to like flip over my bike, which was very humbling experience by the wind. Yeah, the wind was definitely very strong. So you have to get used to the UK weather, and like every single day you don't know what you're going to expect. So getting used to that is like a daily chore, and that's one thing that you need to take note when you come to the UK. Something which I feel I taken for granted, the Singapore weather, which is so like fixed. And yeah, now moving on to the next one, which is the north-south divide. Now in Singapore we have the east side versus the west side, but I find it kind of trivial because it's sort of like just for banter, just for laugh at times. But when I come into the UK and I learn about this north-south divide, I've like, oh, I was very intrigued by it because I thought it's very similar to east side west side debate, but it's definitely not, because this north-south divide is definitely rooted in a lot of history and there's a lot of political dispute over it. Like there is a genuine hatred from the north side people to the south side of UK, right? Because they feel like a lot of the government resources and the money is always allocated to the south. So the south is the one that's being developed and the north is the one that's like being like lagging behind. So there's always a very big like tension that's always brewing between the north and the south, and the government is trying to like ease the tension. I mean, that's the reason why the North voted Boris Johnson. The people in the North voted Boris Johnson because he was advocating to like make everyone into like a clean slate, or like make everyone have equal opportunities. But so far, I still feel there's still a big North-South divide. And the thing is, not like in Singapore, but you'll be able to recognize who's from where given from their accent. So like if you're from Liverpool, you have the Scousers accent. If you're from Newcastle, you have the Geordie accent. If you're from the south, like in London, you have like the Cockney accent, right? So yeah, it's very easy. When I first came here, I was like, people were able to like know where each other from best based off their accent, or sort of have like a guess, quite good guess at times. And I'm just here like, whoa, how did you all know? And they're like, yeah, they can figure out just minor differences, and they can figure out where you are, and they also know like whether are you posh, which is like means rich, or like atas, and like whether are you like from like the ends on the hoods. So there's just many different ways I realized that people can split one another into like different groups. And yeah, so that definitely leads to a lot of like initial like split. I can't say the same in Singapore, because if I'm from the east side or the west side, you won't even know, because we all speak the same. There's no like big difference, and you can't differentiate where people are from just based on how they talk. So yeah, this north-south divide is definitely something which I wasn't expecting, and it's quite a big shock when I come into York. Now the fifth one and the last one for this video is the fact that there's a very big drinking culture here. Well, I know we all know that UK likes to drink, like people like to, you see all the UK people drinking with their beer mugs and all these kind of things. It's quite common to like associate UK people with drinking, right? But like I didn't expect it to be like at this level when I first came into York, right? Like drinking has been so normalized and accepted by everyone here, is the fact that there's so many adverts telling you to like drink, to even like gamble, which is like you definitely won't say that in Singapore. You have like a lot of like anti-drinking, anti-gambling adverts in Singapore. But it's not the same here. There's definitely a lot of like pro-drinking, pro-gambling adverts. Yes, they definitely have their fair share of like anti-drinking, anti-gambling adverts, but I won't say it's to the same level as it is in Singapore. There's definitely a lot more like um, encouragement of drinking. Like drinking is like the way to like have fun, to like relax. Like everybody drinks here. But maybe it's just that kind of the people I hang out with. Maybe that's why it makes me give this twisted perception of drinking. But when I go into town, I see just so many like bars, and it's like one after the other. And we should take note that York is like supposed to be like a quiet city, and yet I still see so many bars, so many clubs, and people drinking every single time. It's like, okay. One way I'll compare how the UK drinking culture is maybe to like my experience when I was in the army. Now back in Singapore, like smoking is discouraged upon. Like when I go to school, like there's so many anti-smoking advertisements. Everybody's telling you what are the negative effects of smoking, etc., etc., etc. But when I went into the army, like smoking was so normalized. Like everybody's like, oh, let's go for a smoke break, and then you also accept it. It's such a casual thing to do. They sort of forget about the repercussions of smoking, right? Because everybody's doing it. And then I saw like even people that barely even smoke started to smoke. People that never even touched cigarettes in their life started to smoke because everyone is doing it, and there's like a pastime to do. And I also almost got sucked into that kind of thing because in that environment I felt it was so normalized and everybody was like smoking. I was like, yeah, it's not a big deal, you know, just smoke, it's just fine, right? And I was like, whoa, that's quite scary, because back my entire life everybody's telling me the repercussions of smoking, and then now I'm this kind of environment where everybody's smoking and smoking doesn't seem to be that big of a deal, yet you know deep down what are the repercussions of it, but yeah, everybody's still doing it, and you're like, oh, okay, that's quite scary. So I think the same thing I could say is happening here in the UK, where the culture accepts and normalizes drinking so much, where everybody knows the issues of drinking, right, but they still do it, right? And it's like it's like every time the best way to like have fun is to like go drink, and everything is about drinking. There's honestly a lot of pictures you see about drinking, clubbing, and all those kind of things. Yes, you definitely have all those other societies which are like non-drinking events, non-clubbing events, but these definitely take like a huge chunk of your university experience. Yeah, so that was quite a big culture shock for me, because I won't get to see that in Singapore. Singapore does have its drinking issues, but I would say UK takes it to like a whole nother scale. Singapore does have its own like drinking and clubbing, but UK is really on another level. So yeah, that was a big like jump for me, and that's a big culture shock. And yeah, I think that's the end of my 5 culture shocks when I first came to the UK. Let me know what y'all think of it, and if there's anything else that y'all want me to talk about, do leave it down in the comments below. And if you like this kind of video, do leave it a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. See ya. Bye.